Counting on Jinger Duggar shares terrifying experience after childbirth. Counting on alum Jinger Duggar Vuolo is back with a new podcast video amid her pregnancy journey with Jeremy. The two have been celebrating their upcoming third baby. They decided to keep it a secret first, especially from their kids, as they were afraid they might spill the news to family members. However, Jinger's latest vlog features a horrifying story as she shares a traumatic experience after childbirth. Counting on, when is Jinger Duggar due? According to Jinger, she will welcome her third child in March 2025. But she and Jeremy will host a gender reveal party before the big day, and many Counting On fans are already predicting the baby's gender. In one of her recent vlogs, Jinger revealed that only a few family members know about her baby's gender. One of them is Jessa, who is the first person to pick up the results of her tests in Arkansas. Jinger is the second pregnant Duggar in the family today, next to Katie, who's expecting twin baby girls with Jed. Jinger shares terrifying experience after first child. Jinger recently uploaded a podcast featuring a traumatic story from when she gave birth to Felicity. According to the former Counting On star, she had a horrible medical experience shortly after welcoming her first child. She said that she was already doing great after giving birth to Felicity. However, she was given one dose of medicine that she could no longer remember, which gave her so much pain. She added, "They gave me some serious, hard drug. It was bad." She further explained that she was shaking in the car on their way back home, and she was feeling horrible. Due to this, Jinger Duggar Vuolo decided that she would no longer take any medicines post-birth. She said, "And to this day, I don't know what that medicine was they gave me, but I will never let them do that again. When I leave the hospital, I'm like, I'm fine, I feel great. Don't give me any meds, I will take my own if I need to." Counting on, will Jinger Duggar document growing family on TV? Jinger Duggar Vuolo also talked about the possibility of her family's reality TV comeback in one of her IG stories Q&A. According to the Counting On alum, she grew up in front of the cameras and felt like it was a normal thing to have a film crew around her every day. But it was something that she didn't want her kids to experience today. But it seems she's not closing her doors to such opportunities by saying, "I don't know." Jinger Duggar Vuolo, one of the most well-known daughters from the Duggar family and star of Counting On, has always been open with her fans. Whether it's about her shift in religious beliefs, her evolving relationship with her parents, or her life in Los Angeles with husband Jeremy Vuolo, Jinger's transparency is what continues to draw people to her. But recently, she shared something that left fans shaken, a deeply personal and terrifying experience that unfolded shortly after giving birth to one of her daughters. While Jinger has previously hinted that motherhood changed her life in ways she never expected, her latest revelation pulled back the curtain on a moment few knew about, one that nearly cost her everything. The joy of birth, followed by a nightmare. Jinger and Jeremy welcomed their second daughter, Evangeline Jo, in November 2020. At the time, their social media posts were full of smiles, joy, and gratitude. But behind those carefully curated snapshots, something far more harrowing was happening. In a new interview on a popular podcast and follow-up comments on her Instagram stories, Jinger recounted how what should have been a smooth postpartum recovery turned into a traumatic health scare. "Everything went well at first," Jinger explained. "Evangeline was born healthy, I was feeling okay, and we were just soaking in those first precious hours. But a few hours later, I started feeling dizzy and cold, like ice cold. My teeth were chattering and my heart was racing. What followed was a blur of doctors rushing in, alarms sounding, and panic setting in." Jinger was experiencing a postpartum hemorrhage, a rare but dangerous complication that can occur after delivery. For a moment, the situation was so serious that medical professionals feared for her life. "I thought I was saying goodbye." Jinger choked back tears as she recalled the terror of the moment. "I remember looking at Jeremy and thinking, this might be it. It's a strange thing to say, but in that moment, I thought I was saying goodbye." Jeremy, who was by her side, immediately called for help when he noticed her pale skin and incoherence. "I could tell something was very wrong," he said. "The nurses moved so fast, I just held her hand and prayed. Doctors were able to stop the bleeding in time, but Jinger needed a blood transfusion and intensive monitoring for hours afterward. Though she recovered physically, the emotional aftermath left deep scars. Trauma beneath the surface. Fans of Counting on remember Jinger as the sister who always smiled brightly, the one who wore pants first, moved to the big city, and took life by the horns. But even the strongest spirits can crack under the weight of unspoken trauma. I didn't talk about it for a long time, she admitted. Even after I got home and things went back to normal, I kept reliving it in my head. I would wake up in the night panicked, thinking it was happening again. It wasn't until she sought therapy months later that she fully began to process what she had been through. I realized that I had been living in a state of anxiety I couldn't name. It was like my body remembered the fear, even when my mind tried to forget, breaking the silence. So why speak out now? Jinger says she felt compelled to share because so many women go through birth-related trauma and never talk about it. I had no idea how common postpartum complications could be, she said. You hear all these stories about labor, but not as much about what happens after. She hopes her story will help normalize conversations around postpartum health and maternal mental wellness. Women are warriors, Jinger added. We bring life into the world, and sometimes we walk a fine line between life and death to do it. That deserves to be talked about. Jinger also credited her husband Jeremy with being her rock during recovery. He was gentle, patient, and never pushed me to move on before I was ready. Having someone who listens, who just holds your hand and says, "I'm here," that made all the difference. Fans react with support. After Jinger posted about her experience, fans flooded her with support and gratitude. Many mothers shared their own similar stories, and several praised her for using her platform to raise awareness. I went through the same thing after my son was born and thought I was alone, one follower wrote. Thank you for being brave enough to share. Others noted that this vulnerable side of Jinger shows just how far she's come from the carefully monitored world of 19 kids and counting, where image and perfection were often the priority. She's not just living her own life now, she's using her voice, another fan commented. That's powerful. A new chapter of honesty. Jinger's story comes at a time when she's becoming more vocal than ever about her life beyond the Duggar brand. In her book, Becoming Free Indeed, she shared details of the religious fear and guilt that plagued her growing up. Now, with her terrifying childbirth story out in the open, she's continuing her journey of authenticity. It's scary to put your pain out there, she said, but it's scarier to think of someone else going through the same thing and feeling alone. If my story can make even one woman feel seen, it's worth it. As Jinger and Jeremy raise their daughters in Los Angeles, far from the Arkansas compound and strict upbringing she once knew, she continues to redefine what it means to be a Duggar daughter. Vulnerable, strong, and unafraid to speak truth, Jinger is forging a path few saw coming. And though the memory of her postpartum scare will always stay with her, she says it's now a reminder of resilience, not fear. I survived. I'm still here. And I'm more grateful than ever for my life, for my family, and for every moment I get to hold my girls in my arms.